Raija, I am so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited to be here as well.
Of course. So I want to start. Tell me about what invisaWear does.
Of course. So invisaWear creates jewelry and accessories with safety technology hidden inside. Like this necklace I'm wearing.
That looks
There's
so
a
nice.
button. Thank you so much. Nobody ever suspects it's a safety device. But if you click this backside 2 times, it will immediately alert 5 emergency contacts to let them know you're in an emergency and need help. And it can also optionally contact 911.
Wow, that is impressive in such a little device.
Thank you so much. Nobody would ever know.
It's crazy. So what was the inspiration for you for starting this company?
Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. Never in a million years did I ever think I would start a company. I actually was only 21 years old at the time.
Wow.
I was in college doing a double major in electrical engineering and computer science when I had a scary situation. I was at an event with some friends and I thought to myself, maybe I should ask someone to walk with me to my car. And then I immediately told myself I was being paranoid because it was parked less than a block away. I didn't want to inconvenience anyone, so I said my goodbyes and I started walking back to my car. As I was about halfway between where the car is and the event is, an SUV full of guys drove by. They rolled down the window and started yelling super inappropriate comments. First, I kind of rolled my eyes because things like this sadly happen to us women all the time.
Absolutely.
I continue walking, the car stops, and one of the 4 guys starts to get out.
Oh my God.
I had my phone with me, but what do? You can't really look at them and be like, hey, leave me alone. I'm just gonna call the police, tell them where I am, what the emergency is. Oh,
Right.
and please don't move me for 7 to 8 minutes. That's unrealistic. I ended up running as quickly as I could, got to my car safely, and thankfully I wasn't hurt that night. But for the next hour and a half, I was shaking uncontrollably because all I could think about is I could have been that news story you see on the news. I could have been that true crime podcast that we all listen to so nonchalantly. I started looking for safety devices to buy to protect myself and the women I care about. But everything was a big, ugly panic button.
Yeah. I know that well.
What my grandma says about those things.
Right.
She says she'd rather fall and not be able to get up than to be seen wearing one of them.
Exactly. My family says the same thing.
Oh my gosh. So it blew my mind. I was like, how is nobody creating them in jewelry? invisaWears come in necklaces, bracelets, keychains, fitness bands, and scrunchies.
Wow, that's incredibly scary. And you're right, it's something pretty much every woman I know has faced.
Seriously.
How did it feel for you then to take it from like an idea in your head then to actually going and being an entrepreneur, creating the product? Like, how did you feel making that jump?
Thank you. So I never really imagined it would become what it is today. It actually originally started as a class project. So I was doing my senior year capstone at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, and I told my best friend, his name is Ray, I said, why don't we create safety devices for a project, and then at the end of this, we can have them for ourselves and our loved ones. Great. And he was like, that's a great idea. My sisters always call me, and they're always nervous, and they ask him to stay with him on the phone while they're walking back to their car. He's like, I'd love to give them this. So originally we were creating them for ourselves and our loved ones to make sure they're safe. But then we started hearing so many sad stories from sexual assault survivors, and it's actually horrific. Studies show 1 out of every 5 women is sexually assaulted at some point in her lifetime.
Wow.
This is highly unacceptable and needs to change. So we ended up entering the entrepreneurship competition at UMass Lowell, and we took home first place for an innovative technology solution. And then we both graduated, and we decided to decline some prestigious job opportunities. I actually turned down an opportunity with Google. I always joke, I'm like, don't tell your parents you're declining a job with Google.
Yeah.
They're gonna think you lost your mind.
Were they a little upset, or how did they take it?
Oh my gosh, at first they were shocked. It, of course, takes a lot of money to develop a safety product or a tech company in general. So we knew we needed to raise at least $150,000 to bring the product to market. And it was actually really sad. My mom and dad at the beginning, they were like, Raija, like, we don't come from money. Like, where are you gonna get that? You need to take the job at Google. Like, do you know how much money you'd be making as a software engineer in California? And I just couldn't do it. All I could think about was, how am I gonna live my life doing nothing about these horrific statistics? And what if I do raise the funding and one day this product saves someone's life?
Yeah.
Then it will all have been extremely worth it.
Absolutely.
So I did it, and I declined that opportunity, and it was by far one of the best decisions of my life.
Amazing. Now tell me about that fundraising journey. How did you go about it? And then how much have you raised today?
Of course. So we originally started off thinking we only needed $150,000 to develop the product, and everyone was like, nobody's going to give two 21-year-olds $150,000. Well, we actually raised close to $3 million to bring the product to market and to also market it.
Amazing.
Thank
Who are
you.
some of your investors, and how did you kind of convince them to jump on board?
Oh my gosh, so at first we got a ton of no's. I kid you not, we probably got 80 to 90 no's. And so many people were saying things like, oh, you're just too young, you've never started a company before. But a lot of our investors are actually angel investors in the Boston area. And one thing they all have in common is they're all parents who immediately understood the mission of the company.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you.
Now, talking about competitors, because you said, you know, the old way to do it, everything was clunky, big panic buttons.
Right.
How do you set yourself apart from competitors who are doing similar things in the space as you, and who would you consider to be your biggest competitors?
Great question. So when we started the company, we had 0 competitors. It was all the big ugly panic buttons, which, to be honest with you, they target seniors. They're not even really going after young women. And then shortly after, a couple years later, 2 young women out of Harvard, they were actually both sexual assault survivors, thought of the same concept. So they decided to create jewelry as well. It's a great company called Flair. But we recently announced that my business partner, Ray, and I acquired all of the assets of Flair. So now invisaWear and Flair are the largest 2 companies in the space.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
How did you go about your first big acquisition?
Oh my gosh, it was incredibly exciting, and it was such a huge learning opportunity. I keep joking with everyone that I feel like I got an honorary law degree now. It was months and months of legal work.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting. We are kind of going after 2 different target markets with both companies. So with Flair, we're targeting more younger college-aged women. It's a bracelet that's a very sleek design. And then with invisaWear, we're going after more parents, and it's more of a premium product. invisaWear actually has a really amazing partnership with ADT, the #1 name in security.
Oh, very cool.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you.
So talk to me about the scale of your business. How has your sales growth been? How many customers do you have?
It's been incredible. We actually have sold over 100,000 devices, and we've surpassed over $15 million in revenue, which has been such a huge milestone for us.
Fantastic. What would it take for you to sell your company then? And is that your goal, or do you want to keep acquiring?
That's a great question. We would definitely be open to an acquisition opportunity if it would help us reach millions of women and protect even more people. It would definitely have to be the right partner who would support our mission to create a safer world. But we also truly believe that we have the opportunity to become a unicorn as well. We've done over $15 million in sales, and a lot of that has been word of mouth marketing and happy customers telling each other about it. So we're actually considering raising another round of financing, a Series A, to help scale our growth.
Very cool. Now talk to me about those customers. What are some of the most impactful stories that you're able to share with me that people have shared with you?
Of course. So sadly, we get a lot of people that purchase a product after a sexual assault has happened, and it's really touching. I try not to get emotional over it, but it's just so sad how often these things happen, and we're trying to do our best to convince people to buy the product before they need it, not after a situation has happened. And that's been really challenging because you don't want to scare people, but at the same time, it's such a real problem. I had a call just the other day with a young woman. She said she saw our product on TikTok, and she said that she thought it was really great and it was amazing. And then she actually was a model. She went to a casting call, and the guy ended up drugging and raping her, which was just so horrible. And she said to me the whole time I was getting raped, I was thinking, I wish I had bought that product, and that maybe I wouldn't have had to endure this trauma if I had bought her necklace. And It's just so sad. I just wish I had the funding to distribute them to every single woman for free to help prevent that, and men, because things like this sadly happen to men.
100%, yeah.
But every single day we hear real life stories of people who are buying the product and have peace of mind. We've had a lot of domestic violence survivors too who've personally written us handwritten notes saying thank you and that they can finally sleep for the first time in years because they have our device. We've saved a young woman in a serious car accident. We've had some realtors that had some almost attacks that they were able to be proactive and call for help.
That's terrifying.
Oh my gosh, it really is.
How do you think about, your business? We're in a time where being a woman is so political right now.
It really is.
How do you think about your product at a time when it's not only scary for women, in these situations that you're describing, but also politically, and we're talking about like our rights that are on the line. How are you thinking about that as you're doing your company?
It's unbelievable. We're trying to do our best to give back as much as we can and donate to nonprofits that help combat our mission and help support women in general. And we try and partner with as many other women entrepreneurs as well. So we recently partnered with a company called Nightcap. So the young woman I was telling you about, it's sadly so common for people to get roofied or drugged before an assault takes place. So we're trying to support other women entrepreneurs. So we partnered with a young woman named Shira. She is actually featured on Nightcap. She makes a scrunchie that goes on top of your drink to protect it from getting roofied.
I've heard of that.
Oh my gosh, it's such an
amazing
incredible
idea.
concept.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay, now going back when you were younger, what would you tell yourself the day before you launched your company that you wish you knew now?
Oh my gosh, so many different things. I think the biggest advice would be to believe in yourself. So many people will tell you all of the reasons that you could fail. I can't tell you the number of people who thought Ray and I were out of our minds to decline Google and to decline all of these prestigious job opportunities. People would say things like 9 out of 10 businesses fail. You shouldn't even try, like take that job. You're crazy to decline it.
Yeah.
And all I could think about is, well, who says we're not going to be the 1 out of 10? And we actually were, which is so exciting.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much. But the other thing I would say is, if you don't build your dreams, someone else is going to hire you to build theirs. That's one of my favorite quotes.
That's a very good line, and that actually leads me to my next question. Is there like a business rule that you and Ray follow no matter what, all the time?
It's always customer satisfaction. I would say we truly built our company on hearing the feedback and advice from our customers, listening to what they like, trying to innovate and fix things that they don't like. I'd say customer satisfaction is probably our biggest priority. And then the second one would be to surround yourself with people that are a lot more intelligent than you. So we have done a good job in finding really great advisors and mentors who've already been there and have built extremely successful companies. And we're so grateful for all their support.
Now, talking about the future, what is next for you? What future exciting things do you have in the pipeline in 2024?
We're continuing to innovate our app as much as possible to add new features. We recently added video streaming capabilities, voice activation, chat, activity tracking, and then in the future, I'll tell you actually one of my goals.
Ooh, I'd love to hear it.
I'd love to partner with some well-known jewelry companies, such as Kendra Scott.
Yeah.
She is probably one of the most aspiring women, and we'd love to put our technology in those well-known brands to help get more access to the millions of women who love her jewelry.
That's really smart. I love that.
Thank you.
So going back to your funding journey then, talk to me a bit about, as a woman, going into a male-dominated VC field and trying to pitch this female-centric product. How was that for you, and was it hard to convince people to take a chance on you?
It definitely was not easy. We sadly got so many disgusting comments while we were raising money. I had one investor look me dead in the eyes and say that he doesn't think women care about their safety, after I specifically told him the horrific statistics and shared that we had done over $1 million in revenue.
Wow.
But we actually had a really horrible story happen where we were doing a friendly Shark Tank pitch competition to teach young entrepreneurs how to raise funding. And the entire panel, 4 were men, 1 was a woman. The woman started by saying that she loves the product, wishes she had one when she was in college, and can think of so many different use cases. The next guy looked at me and said that his wife never, ever complained about her safety, and that because of that, he doesn't think there's a need for this product. There was about 200 women sitting in the audience, and they started booing him. And then,
Wow, good for them.
Isn't that crazy? I said, with all due respect, sir, I think the women in the audience would have to disagree. And he responded by saying, well, I'm going to ask my wife because I've never heard of this.
Oh my God.
It was just so unbelievable.
That's so hard.
The next judge decided to take the cake, so I started the company with a male co-founder. He's my best friend. And he looks at me and asks if I had ever been intimate with my co-founder.
That's completely
Can
inappropriate.
you believe that? I was appalled.
Wow.
I walked off the stage and I just completely felt mortified. The CEO of the organization was really incredible. He issued an apology. He personally called me. He said they promised to do better and to put a gender equal panel next year during this friendly competition.
Wow.
But the really funny thing that happened is there was a gentleman by the name of Matt sitting in the audience. And Matt called me 2 weeks later. He said, hi, Raija, my name is Matt. I was sitting in the audience. I witnessed everything that happens. I manage the finances of a very wealthy woman. Her name is Michelle. And when I got back, I told Michelle exactly what happened. And Michelle said that she faced similar discrimination when she was raising funding for her first company. He said Michelle would like to have a conversation with you and is interested in investing in invisaWear.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. I had a really great conversation with Michelle. She told me about so many situations where she faced or her loved ones faced where they worried about their personal safety. And then she said, you know what? I want to repeat your experience with that Shark Tank presentation. We did a ton of due diligence. She said she wants to invest, but that she won't decide how much she wants to invest until after she puts all the sales directors in her company on this friendly Shark Tank panel and I redo the pitch. I said, absolutely, I would love that. And then this time when they were giving the feedback, every single woman on the panel started off by sharing a story of when she personally feared for her safety.
Wow.
Michelle called me afterwards and she said she originally was considering investing $500,000 in invisaWear, but after talking to all of the women judges she put on the panel, she decided to double her investment and invest $1 million.
That's amazing.
Isn't that incredible? And she wanted to issue a statement basically because she had faced the same thing when she was raising funding.
Good for you.
Thank
Turning a negative into a positive. That's
it was
amazing.
so incredible. I never would have imagined that would have turned out after that horrible situation.
Wow. One last question for you. What would you want your legacy to be?
I would really hope to change the horrific statistics surrounding sexual assault. It's honestly unacceptable how many women are assaulted, and that's only the reported numbers that I shared with you earlier. Really hope we can prevent these situations from happening.
That is an amazing goal. Thank you so much, Raija.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so great chatting with you.
Good luck with your journey.
Thank you so much.